Welcome to Horror Movie Mavens, and thanks for joining us. Before we jump into the review, which I'm very excited about, I'd like to notify all of our Horror Movie Mavens listeners that it's a review podcast, which means it inherently will contain spoilers for the movie selection of the week. Films in the horror movie genre often contain adult themes, graphic language, and some images that can be shocking to some of our more sensitive listeners. To best enjoy Horror Movie Mavens podcast, you should have probably already have seen the movie or watched it in the past and maybe spruce up your knowledge, especially if you've never seen the movie before. Then, click play on us and enjoy the ride. Without further ado, let's enjoy some Horror Movie Mavens. Hey everybody, and welcome to Horror Movie Mavens. I'm your host of the most, Bad Luck Bill, here to guide you through our movie watching experience today. It's episode number 19, The Shining, 1980s rated R Warner Brothers picture, The Shining. I am very excited, frothing at the mouth, if you will, to take a big bite of this Shining sandwich. And to take a bite with me is So Startled Sassos. Hello, Sassos, how are you?
Red Rum. I've never been so scared in my life, and visiting this movie just is the reason why my name is So Startled Sass.
So startled.
I'm never going on vacation in Colorado ever, or anywhere cold. It's only summer vacations for my family for the rest of my life.
Jack Torrance, the images of Jack Torrance are running through your mind. With an axe, of course.
Also, never going anywhere with a hedge. Anywhere with a hedge maze.
Maze. Oh, yeah. Also joining us to journey into hysteria, into madness, into The Shining is Murderous Mike. Murderous Mike, how are you, sir?
Doing very well. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, are you? Everyone has seen this movie prior to the review, right? Like, this is not the first time out for you guys, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Totally, yeah.
Yeah, this is one that probably... I was telling Murderous Mike while we weren't recording off air, this movie, probably because of its success, is on everyone's overrated list. Can you believe that? Just because of its success, I guess, right? I guess
that's like a shame, man. That's like a crime against humanity. This is the epitome of horror.
It's a big deal. And in 1980, too, for all that. So if you look at the time period, there's not... This is a movie where an extremely serious filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick, steps out onto front stage to make a horror movie, and it's a serious movie, man. It takes a lot of strange subject matter that he tackles. He takes someone else's story and makes it his own in a really, really meaningful way, and I really like it. I don't think it's overrated at all, but that's my 2 cents on that.
I mean, and it also is a movie that, even though it's made in 1980, is total 70s vibe, baby.
Oh, 100%,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just weird, just entering the great 80s. But really, this is technically like a 70s feel movie.
Absolutely, with the styles of hair and the wardrobe, and even like some of the set design is very, very 70s. I agree with that.
I mean, where else can you find giant naked women with afros in a guy's bedroom? I mean, seriously.
It's true.
Oh, Dick Halloran. I love me some Dick Halloran. I love me some Dick Halloran. He's one of my favorite.
Strictly Halloran. Yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters in all of horror movies. I have a list, and he's got to be one of the Mount Rushmore of my guys that I'm just like, poor Dick Halloran. Well, he went all that way, but he saved the day at the end of it, and yeah, we'll jump into all that.
And he might even be the first movie rule as like the African American character gets it. He might be the first one. Might be the first one.
Might be the most stereotypical.
Yeah. It's a very fair point.
He literally enters the scary part of the movie and dies about 30 seconds into it. Yep. So maybe you're right. Maybe we broke some ground there with Scatman Carruthers. So the movie, The Shining, the runtime is 2 hours and 26 minutes. So right off the bat, it's going to be a longer movie, and I'd like to notify our Horror Movie Mavens listeners out there, all the Mavens, this is going to be a giant-size episode of Horror Movie Mavens. We're probably going to make this into a two-parter. So regardless of where you start or where you end, just know that there's probably going to be another part to the Shining review, because there's a lot to take in, there's a lot of real estate, and we want to let this thing breathe like a fine wine, right? You pour the glass, you let it breathe, and then you take some sips and see what the high notes are of the fine wine that is The Shining. The tagline for the movie is a masterpiece of modern horror. The movie poster, the one that I chose because there's a few of them, is The Shining with the T of the, all in yellow. The T of the is sort of like the shocked face that is like looking down, like kind of freaked out. Do we know what I'm talking about as far as the movie poster? Is everybody kind of in alignment with that?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think about the tagline and the movie poster?
I think it's perfect because even to today, it's a masterpiece of modern horror. And like literally today, you know, so many years later, there's a lot. Like we were saying how the film is very 70s vibes into the 80s, yada yada, but a lot of the techniques that were done in this film, like literally were way ahead of its time. And we'll get into those kind of stuff later, but like it's a masterpiece.
You're absolutely right. And a lot of that is Stanley Kubrick making certain choices that kind of made it that's like the cornerstone of modern horror. But even technically, like you're saying, technical aspects of the movie, Steadicam. Like this is like one of the Steadicam features, like the start of the whole damn Steadicam fad that still to this day is something that people use.
I mean, like you feel like you're right there in that house, in that hotel with them. And again, it's like you said, like this is like people are gonna be talking about this movie 30 years from now, and we're approaching what? We're at 45, 46 years old being a movie, and it's older than we are.
Absolutely.
And then it's almost like the ancient, Greek Homeric, story books that are still read to this day. It's got themes that transcend time, and that's what makes it so good.
It really does.
That's why this is people think it's overrated. Like the people think it's overrated because there's so much focus in theory making and analyzing the cinematography, but there's reasons to that.
Right.
And I feel the popularity of it makes people dislike it for whatever reason.
Well, but I think that's like people's nature, especially now. We live in the age of trolls, right? And I say this all the time because we review like the finest, generally speaking, horror movie Mavens deals in the most fine aspects of horror movies up to this point, right? We've had a couple of duds, Ginger Dead Man, Maniac Cop. These are things that aren't like the upper crust, but they're fun to review and they're fun to watch. There's a different element of fun to that. When you have a movie like The Shining that's as good as this, and that so many people have taken elements of and parodied, either through making it on the funny side, like The Simpsons, or just taking the building blocks of the movie the way it was designed and creating an entire version, the horror genre wouldn't be the same without The Shining. You would have to take a part of the foundation out of the horror movie genre, and the whole thing becomes wobbly and starts falling apart because it permeates every aspect of horror movies, and still to this day it does that. And is it overrated? Maybe because we live in the age of trolls, but if you look at it with keen eyes, I mean, Stanley Kubrick is one of the masters, right? And if you're going to take it like Alfred Hitchcock, we did Psycho. If you're going to take a master and he's going to sit there and go, I'm going to do a horror movie, he's probably going to create one of the finest horror movies that he can, because he's a master filmmaker, and that's exactly what we had here in The Shining. So it is written by Stephen King. And Stephen King came to the table with a book that Stanley Kubrick then took and wrote the screenplay. He wrote a treatment, so Stanley Kubrick gets a writing credit here, along with Diane Johnson, who kind of helped him out on this. The book and the movie, they kind of stray apart from each other, and much to Stephen King's chagrin, Stephen King hates The Shining. It's not anything he's ever deviated from, and it's not anything he's made a secret of. He does not like what Stanley Kubrick did with The Shining. And it is what it is.
Wow,
I mean,
did not realize that.
Hates The Shining.
Hated it.
Hated
It's like a living color. Hated it.
Exactly.
Well, we think that baby's 3 snaps and around the world.
No kidding. And there's many instances where King just takes a huge giant dump all over.
Think about it. I mean, that happens with books that become movies quite often, right?
Of course.
Look at Game of Thrones. That guy hates everything about the show,
But meanwhile, he made a boatload of cash off of it.
They took their baby and they altered it,
Right. That's right. When Stephen King was first contacted by Stanley Kubrick about making the movie through like an early phone call with England being about 5 hours away ahead of Maine, King suffering from a hangover from the night before, he initially thought one of his children was hurt when he got the phone call that early in the morning and was shocked when his wife told him that it was Kubrick on the phone, who was actually wanting to talk to him about taking his book and making it into a movie. King recalled the first thing that Kubrick did was immediately start talking about how optimistic ghost stories are because they suggested that humans survive death. And King asked, what about hell? And Kubrick paused for several moments before replying, I don't believe in hell. And King responded that there are people who do believe in hell and fear it more than death itself. And in that conversation, that was an extremely effective way of helping Kubrick understand where the tone of the story needed to go. There are things worse than death. There are things that we don't fully understand. And this is something I believe. I mean, not everyone believes this, obviously. People don't move on to the afterlife. Some people don't believe there even is an afterlife, right? I don't think souls move on to the afterlife if they feel like there have been some sort of trauma or maybe they're real bad, or maybe they just are confused and they don't know they need to. And we sort of tackled some of this on our review of Poltergeist, right? In this hotel, this Overlook Hotel, it would appear that there are a cast of characters that are kind of from beyond the grave that sort of linger in the hallways and create an environment that torments Jack and Wendy and Danny Torrance throughout the entire picture. Now, there's a whole nother piece to it, too, where maybe this isn't a ghost story at all. Maybe this is a story about Jack Torrance just slowly slipping into madness. And there's 2 different thought processes involved in that, too. I wonder what you guys think. Is it a ghost story, or is it a story about Jack going crazy? Or was Jack driven crazy?
I thought it was Jack going crazy, but now that you mention all that stuff, my whole lid is flipped, and now I think it's a ghost story.
Right.
Because it's like, that's what happens when people get stuck like that.
Yeah.
It's like, until they finish their business, they got to, like, linger in limbo, in a sense.
Right.
And they can't be at peace in the afterlife until they fix what was wrong, you know?
You would think so, right? Something to that effect. At least that's the conventional wisdom.
There are countless theories.
I mean, and then at the end, too, yeah. Like, when they have his picture, like, what's he doing there from 1921, dude?
That's right.
Yep.
So, King. All right, so he's the elephant in the room, and we'll sort of talk about him. I'll get all of my King facts out of the way, because after we get done talking about Stephen King, we're probably not going to talk about him much more after that, which is probably why he hates the fucking movie so much, because it's grown legs, and it's gone above and beyond what Stephen King was thinking about. So I have in my notes, literally, the note section is King versus. So King versus Duvall. Shelley Duvall plays Wendy Torrance. Among his many criticisms of the movie, Stephen King disliked the casting of Shelley Duvall as Wendy. King envisioned Wendy as a blonde former cheerleader type who had never faced real hardships, which would make her ordeal at the Overlook especially terrifying to her. He felt that Duvall's appeared too emotionally vulnerable and experienced, essentially the opposite of the character he had imagined when he wrote his novel. The casting of Shelley Duvall, King does not like it, or didn't at the time. I'm sure he might have different thoughts about it now. People change their minds constantly. Shelley Duvall recently passed away. She's no longer with us. What did we think about Shelley Duvall in the movie in general?
I mean, I'm gonna go mad random because I'm that guy that always says, "Hey, that's that lady from that movie."
Right.
Wasn't she the wife in Popeye with Robin Williams?
She's Olive Oil. Yeah.
Yep.
And am I crazy? I was like thinking the whole time. I'm like thinking Robin Williams is gonna pop out, like, you know, and punch Jack out, you know. But I mean, I'm just like, I mean, honestly, I liked her in this role, but kind of like that olive oil thing was in the back of my mind and distracting me. But like, I kind of understand where Stephen King's coming from. Had it been like a kind of like a blonde like that without emotional baggage, like you kind of see like she's struggling from like the second we meet her about you know, Danny breaking his arm and the seizure thing and like, you know, all this other stuff. I mean, believe it, I mean, her ability to act is without question, and she is extremely talented because she sells everything, man.
That's right.
And I mean, her horror in her eyes, like, I mean, I had to go back and watch this movie a second time from like the last hour just to like make sure I didn't miss everything. But she sells the hell out of every emotion, whether it be fear, whether it be anger, whether it be, you know, gladness, whether it be questioning herself. I mean, just masterclass. Yeah.
I agree with you there. Maybe the physical aspects of what Stephen King was thinking when he wrote his novel deviate from what Shelley Duvall brings to the table. I don't think there's any doubting her acting ability, though. She's unbelievable. The fear and terror, just the terror in her eyes, it's palpable. It's like you can feel that she's so scared. And you know what? There's a reason for that, though. But there is a reason. I'll tell you all about the reason right after I get my thoughts from Murderous Mike. What do you think about the casting of Shelley Duvall as Wendy?
It's great. Like she seems like the just kind of like wife that tags along with her husband, whatever he's doing, and like kind of like she doesn't voice her opinion too much and kind of bottles a lot of her emotions. And then it starts cracking through the film, and like towards the end you really see her just like crumble in fear and just realize that she needs to get the hell out of Dodge.
She's the doting wife, right? And I think she kind of lives in denial a little bit about who exactly Jack is and what she needs to do in order to protect her son from Jack, right? From the father of Danny. The reason why she looks so absolutely distraught and emotionally spent and on the brink of having a mental break is because Shelley Duvall was on the brink of having a mental breakdown during the filming of the movie. Some of it was acting, and some of it was like real exhaustion. She suffered from a nervous breakdown during the filming of the movie because the role was so emotionally demanding. And even so, she later said she valued the experience and stated that Kubrick taught her more than she'd ever learned on any of her other films. But she was always very candid while she was here and with us in the land of the living. Shelley Duvall had a rough time during the filming of this movie. Kubrick is notorious for multiple takes, sometimes hundreds of takes. And for her to keep that level of emotion up for, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 takes is unbelievably difficult to do for an actor or an actress. And I feel like that in itself is enough that it clearly made her break down, emotionally fall apart.
I mean, I'm going to have an aside right now. Having to do that old lady tub scene 50 to 100 times would make me flip the fuck out. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I know.
I would just run away. I would just get in the Tomcat or Snowcat and just drive off. I'd be like, see you, dude. My career's over.
I'm out. My next note is King versus Nicholson. King tried to talk Stanley Kubrick out of casting Jack Nicholson for the lead, suggesting either Michael Moriarty or John Voight. There were some that thought Kubrick would cast someone a little bit different. He considered Robert De Niro at first. He considered Robin Williams for the role of Jack Torrance. These are
perfect there.
These are completely different movies, right? This does not have the same feeling without Jack Nicholson involved. King felt that seeing normal-looking men gradually descend into madness would have enhanced the drama, but Kubrick felt different for his vision of the movie, and this is another time where Kubrick is the boss and tells Stephen King to go pack sand. What do you think about the casting of Jack Nicholson?
I love it because, Nicholson, really, except for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, is pretty much like a hotshot, tough guy role player, never really like a crazy person. So, this is like him changing his trajectory in acting with this.
The movie is essentially 3 actors, right? If you really break it down. If you want to consider The Hotel an actor, then you can, I suppose. But it's 3 actors, right? And it's a whole lot to put on Duvall and Nicholson because, the young boy, Danny Lloyd, who plays Danny Torrance, he's a young boy. He's unbelievably talented and he does a great job, but he is a young boy, right? So a lot is placed at the feet of these 2 leads, the female and the male lead. Murderous Mike, what do you think about the casting of Jack Nicholson? It seems like a no-brainer now, but maybe not so at the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so hard to think about the film without Jack Nicholson because he's like you think The Shining, you immediately think Jack Nicholson.
It's one and the same now.
Yeah.
But not back then, I guess.
The most interesting of the bunch would have been the Robin Williams one. And
agreed.
I feel that it would have been a completely different style of film, but
how interesting though, right?
Yeah, it would have been fascinating to see him descend into madness, and his take on madness would have been it might be on the verge of goofy.
Right. Well, no, because we saw it years later in like the 2000s when we made one of his last films when he's the crazy guy in the Walmart. Yeah.
1 hour photo. Yeah.
But he was way more subtle in that film. Like it was more like sinister, quiet.
It was
this
sinister, creepy. Where this is like,
but
Robin Williams can play anything. But also, Robin Williams back then was very baby face. Never had a bad guy role, so that would have totally changed his trajectory too if he did.
He would have been completely different as far as his career trajectory. Certainly, he was on. Mork
at the time he was playing Mork and Mindy and stuff.
So he's in a comedic sitcom, a situational comedy.
But he was also doing very, very risque comedy in comedy clubs. So
and he had
that
for years,
wild side. He had that Bob Saget craziness once he got off the air. Yeah.
Both Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall have spoken very critically about the reception of the film, which they felt overlooked the intense efforts of the cast and the crew. Nicholson described the film as one of his most demanding of his career. Duvall herself described the role as the hardest of her life, but the highlighting of her emotional intensity that was required day after day. It was a hard movie to make, and it seems that way. If it's a hard movie to make, usually on the other end of it, the reason why Kubrick was such a demanding director, which required actors to do things over and over and over again, is because he felt that if he kept pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, that we were going to see on film real, tangible emotion eventually. Either that's frustration, crying, any sort of breakthrough or mental break or emotion. He's looking to try to elicit that out of the actors and not have them just be on autopilot. And sometimes if they get lost in their character, obviously philosophically, because it doesn't work for everybody, that was his philosophy behind it. Danny Torrance is played by Danny Lloyd, like I said before, and he doesn't really do anything after this movie. Stanley Kubrick had a really great relationship with young Danny Lloyd.
Can you blame the poor kid?
I know.
He's probably in an insane asylum to this day.
I've actually seen pictures. I don't know about his mental health, but I've seen he looks, obviously he's a lot older now. I had to look him up
wouldn't
because
be alive after making this film.
since this is his first acting job, Kubrick was highly protective of the child. And during the shooting of the movie, Lloyd didn't even know that he was making a horror film. He only realized the truth many years later. In an interview as an adult, Lloyd mentioned Kubrick would even play ball with him in between takes. And for years after the movie, Kubrick would send him Christmas cards to the Lloyd family and even phone Danny Lloyd to congratulate him on his graduation after his high school. So there's something to Kubrick trying to protect and foster a young boy through a very difficult filmmaking, when he's trying to put the pedal to the metal and put the real onus and pressure on the male and female actor. He's doing the exact opposite with the child actor. I still think it's effective, though, because, damn, isn't Danny Lloyd special in this movie?
Oh, for sure. And the fact that, like, thank God Rubric, he basically is like Chef Ramsay today in, like, in Hell's Kitchen. He's super, like, kicks the adults' asses, but at the same time, when he has those kids on the show with MasterChef, he's like the nicest Santa Claus human alive. So,
you never know he was such an asshole,
that takes talent of a director and writer. But also, Danny nails the hell out of this movie.
For sure.
I have never been so scared in my life as a child, and I didn't understand what Danny was going through as a kid. Because obviously we watched these movies on reruns when we were little. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I have 2 older sisters, and they were super into horror movies and stuff. And I was always kid brother. Hey, what's this? What the hell's going on? I'm terrified.
Right.
Why are we watching this? Because we have one TV, right? Mm-hmm. So watching this then and watching this now, and having children, I was mortified, and that's why I said I'm never going on vacation in anywhere near freezing cold winter storms. I am
for fear of mental break, right?
yeah. I'm actually never bringing my kids to a polar tundra vortex ever or anything near it. If it snows, I am going to fly south for the winter.
Danny Lloyd as Danny Torrance. Murderous Mike, what do you think about that?
So good. It's his when I was watching this again, I really focused on how he could just switch to his alter shining personality, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And he just
Tony,
and he just does it so well, where he just goes totally cold, just his eyes glazed over, and just goes into that state. And it's like a kid doing that it says a lot.
It's a lot of when they do those super cuts of the bloody elevator and red rum on the door, and it's him hearing his father start to lose it on his mother and stuff. Yep. Those supercuts of him with his mouth open, his wide-eyed freaked out face and everything, or him kind of seizuring in the bed with all this spittle coming out of his mouth. I'm telling you, man, that's hardcore heavyweight type shit right there.
The only person that I've seen do that successfully was an adult, was James McAvoy in Split.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
When he's playing all those different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
That's next level type of acting. And to be his first time and being a kid, it was unthinkable,
Yeah, very, very good stuff. The only other person I want to talk about is my guy, Dick Halloran, who is Scatman Crothers. Yes, that's his name, Scatman Crothers. And I've got a special place in my heart for Dick Halloran. He's the everyman, seasoned veteran of this gift that's been bestowed on Danny, and I guess other people out there in the world, presumably, of The Shining, right? And he has this ability and feels called to save this family from themselves, because he knows something real, real bad is about to happen or is happening as he goes to the hotel. And his story is a journey of, slow and arduous, but he gets there. and only to be foiled 30 seconds into it. I feel like that would probably be my story arc, but there's a human nature to it that I really, really find appealing because I don't know. When you break it all down, he felt like he had to be there. He was called to it, and then he does provide the exit for our main characters to escape. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, he almost saves the day just by being there, and then they're able to use his vessel that he sailed in on to escape to safety.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, he has that shining power, right? Just like Danny.
Mm-hmm.
He helps Danny understand his power. So you have to, I mean, appreciate that part of his character too, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, if it's not for him in the beginning, you know, you think he's just a cook that works at the hotel. But little do we know, he's like knows how to use these powers. You know what I mean? And he's using them for good. Thank God for this man.
Have either of you two guys seen the movie or read the book Dr. Sleep?
No. I have
That
not.
is the sequel to The Shining.
I've been wanting to see the film.
It is. I read Dr. Sleep before I saw Dr. Sleep, and it is a very good movie that I recommend to our audience, and I recommend to my Mavens here who are with us, Ewan McGregor, and a whole lot of other good actors to kind of take up the mantle. That Ewan McGregor plays Danny Torrance, an older Danny Torrance who's struggling like his father with alcoholism, and it's a good one. I think everybody should take time out of their weekend and maybe go take a look at that.
Wait, is that written by Stephen King also?
Correct. Yes, it is.
Wow. And then also the cool part is you got our man Ewan McGregor, who's
exactly
like one of the best
and you know
actors
what?
ever. Yeah,
does an incredible job too. It takes a different slant on it, but they do return to the Overlook, and I'll leave you there with it. So yeah, the Overlook. Speaking of which. The exterior of the Overlook is actually a hotel called the Timberline Lodge in Oregon, so not in Colorado. The opening of the movie as we're driving to the Overlook is from the Glacier National Park in Montana, not in Colorado. And the soundstage that they filmed everything on was in Hertfordshire, England. The entire interior part of the movie was filmed on a soundstage in England, also not in Colorado. So,
womp womp. If Tombstone Tom was here, he would give this a big womp womp. I mean,
definitely
pull the rug from under us.
The exterior shots are unbelievable. I really, really dig the Timberline Lodge. I'd love to go there one day and really get a bird's eye view of the hotel.
Never.
Oh, me. Oh, for sure, me.
Going nowhere near that sucker. I'll see you. I'll see you on a video call, Bill.
Maybe I'll do a live cast from there and I'll have you on, and you can be haunted by the video cast.
I'll be haunted by the video call alone.
Murderous Mike, do you have some experience with The Shining and the hotel that it was actually created at, correct?
I do. I was able to go to the original hotel that Stephen King actually based everything, the book and everything on.
Yeah.
Wait, where is it?
Boulder, it's just outside of Boulder, Colorado. If it's not Boulder, Colorado, it's just north of Denver. I've been there a few years ago, but yeah, it was.
I've known you 42 years of my life. I never knew you went to Boulder.
Yep.
The secret life of the Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, he's been everywhere.
It's so cool because, like, when you go in there, they actually have the room that he wrote the book in. Like, they have a little plaque on the door that shows, like, Stephen King, The Shining room.
And that's the Carlisle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And is it just like papers of him saying, "Jack, all work, no play"?
Make Stephen a dull boy.
Make Stephen crazy.
Yeah. Basically.
I mean, how do you be Stephen King and go to bed at night? Like, that's what I kind of want to ask the world. How do you think of deranged things 24/7, write countless books about deranged things, and, like, go to a kid's baseball game? Like, I want to know.
He's one of a kind, I'll tell you that. He has made more prolific stories.
I would need to check myself into, like, an insane asylum.
Supposedly what got him to go down this road was he stayed there when the hotel was starting to close, just like in the main story. And he was like, this place would be really creepy if nobody was here. And he actually like got that exposure and got to see what it was like. So he just went stupid down on like that idea. And and you could like when you're there, it's a old kind of hotel, and like the corridors are a little creepy and such, but it's like, yeah, he's just got that mind to like just expand that thought.
Let me ask you this: is there a hedge maze at the Carlisle, or no?
No, there is not. There's like a garden. Well, when I went there, they had like a little pseudo garden. I wouldn't even call it a maze, but it's just like a bunch of bushes.
Okay.
But, and I don't know if it was like that many moons ago.
It was some shrubbery. It was some angry shrubbery.
It was angry shrubbery.
That's pretty interesting stuff. The movie is based in the Colorado in the Rockies. It's not filmed there at all. The kill count of the movie, it's an easy one. It's a layup for you guys, so you shouldn't have any problem with getting it right. What's the kill count of the movie?
Uno.
Okay.
Well, what about the people that are already dead?
Well, we're only going to deal with people who died in the movie today.
Okay, so we're going to go with the one and only.
Actually, are we saying killed
No!
or died?
Well, I was going to say, because he dies too. He gets frozen to death.
Right.
Yeah,
so I'm saying two.
The answer is two. You're right.
I was going to say.
Yes.
That's why I started to recorrect it.
I'm normally so good at my kill counts. Even in friggin' Crazy Maniac Cop, I kept track for a while.
Because he died. He didn't get killed. But
that's
anyway.
Right. Well, I guess his insanity caused him to be out in the cold, which got him killed.
Also, they kind of like trapped him in that maze, so they kind of killed him indirectly.
Danny kind of killed him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the environment killed his ass for sure. The budget for the movie, this is an estimated $19 million to make The Shining. What did it make in the box office?
Oh, this is my most troubled part of the show. I always get these so wrong. T, you go first. Murders Mike, you go first, please, God.
I'm gonna double it. We're gonna do an even 40 mil.
Okay. What do you think?
All right, I'm just so startily saying 120 mil.
120. Okay. The U.S. and Canada, it made $47 million, and worldwide it only made $3 more million. $50 million was the estimated take-home pay for The Shining.
Murders Mike with the win.
Not a big hit. Not as big as you would assume.
I've been learning from all of our little discussions. I always go crazy far, like into like the millions.
Well, I always overshoot it, and I only hit it like one time.
Yeah, the movie was in a lot of ways kind of a disappointment in the box office. It did not do what they thought it would do, especially considering the book had been so damn successful, and it actually was sort of panned in a way. It did not receive any nominations for an Academy Award. None.
Oh, my God.
Not Jack Nicholson, not Shelley Duvall, not Stanley Kubrick. In fact, it even was nominated for 2 Razzie Awards for worst direction and worst screen adaptation or something to that effect. The fact that he wasn't... I'm going to read you the names of the people other than Jack Nicholson, who again did not get nominated for the movie. I'm going to read you the actors' names, and you tell me what the hell you think about all that. Here we go. 1980 Academy Awards. Robert Duvall for The Great Santini. John Hurt for The Elephant Man. Jack Lemmon for the movie Tribute. Peter O'Toole for the movie The Stuntman, and Robert De Niro for the movie Raging Bull, which he won. Have you heard of, besides Raging Bull, have you heard of any of these other movies?
No.
Wait, I feel like The Elephant Man was famous.
The Elephant Man is famous, yeah. That's a John Lynch movie, and it is pretty decent. But the other movies, I've never heard of The Great Santini, and I love Robert Duvall, but Nothing doing.
I feel like that's one of his nicknames. because of that
What the
movie.
great? The,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like it's got to be like if it's got to be relevant from the time.
I'm sure all of these movies were relevant for the time, but I've seen Raging Bull, and I'm looking back on this thing. How in the fuck isn't Jack Nicholson nominated for Best Actor? What the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean, only Robert De Niro could even like withstand his greatness
Yeah,
with Raging Bull. I mean, that movie in itself again is like a masterclass of acting again.
it's a great
But
movie. It's a fine
but it,
film.
it doesn't touch this. I mean,
No, it does not. In my
this is a
opinion,
league of their own acting movie. Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. And there's other movies, although I'm sure they're fine. I've never seen any of them. This is the movie we're reviewing. It's not going to be Stuntman or whatever the hell, Tribute or any of this other bullshit. We're reviewing The Shining because The Shining is by far and away much more famous than even, dare I say, Raging Bull. I think it's a more famous movie than Raging Bull. But again, one man's opinion, right? It's my podcast, so I choose to exercise my right. What do you think,
My
guys?
son, my plan.
My son, my plan, Jack. What do you think? You want to get into this thing?
Let's do it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
go.
All right, let's roll into it. Like we
Every
said,
like tween says that now. Like, let's go with
let's
their
go.
videos.
It's
I
a
wanna
Warner
smack
Brothers
them.
picture, and we're rolling in with our Warner Brothers picture for The Shining. Yeah, the movie kicks off with a drive, right? A very scenic overview. I guess it's a helicopter ride, really, of the national park that we talked about, the Glacier National Park in Montana. Jack is barreling towards his destiny in the most scenic possible fashion. You know, mountain skylines. I've been on road trips that have taken me across scenes like this in Montana. It's unbelievable. And if you have never seen or been around that Montana, Yellowstone area, you really ought to go take a look at some of our great country because it is something to behold. Just the landscape itself, it's very grand, right? It's very big, and it kind of leads you into where we're going. Jack Torrance is riding in his yellow VW Beetle towards the Overlook Hotel. And right off rip, it's all about the soundtrack.
Oh my
What do you
God.
think about the soundtrack just generally overall?
Oh,
guys?
extremely creepy music will haunt
so
my
happy.
soul for life.
I'm so happy you said this because the first thing that caught me was not the shot. It was the soundtrack over the
Yeah,
shot.
and it's
So
hard to
eerie.
describe, but it's like haunting, I guess, is how I would.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just so out there, like nothing that you've heard before or since.
so creepy. So
Very,
creepy.
very, yeah. Unbelievable landscapes, unbelievable soundtrack.
So startling.
So big, so creepy, so startling. The road trip right off the bat is setting the tone. A movie or a novel based on Stephen King's book. So we arrive at the Overlook Hotel, an absolutely massive property, and a meeting with a man by the name of Altman, who's the manager of the hotel, and we meet our friend Jack Torrance, who's going on a job interview. We're setting the stage here for where we're going, right? We're meeting one of our main characters. What are your thoughts on the interior of the hotel?
The hotel looks gorgeous. Mr. Altman kind of looks like a little bit like Stephen King. Am
A
I
little
correct?
bit. I
in
could see
thinking
that.
this?
I could see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It was almost like I thought it was like a nod to the thing. I didn't know they had such bad beef. I thought it was almost like the director's homage to him, but it looks great in there.
Yeah. This meeting is for a caretaker job. Jack Nicholson is a teacher, but he aspires to be a writer, and so he's sort of interviewing to take the Overlook Hotel, which closes for the season, due to the extreme weather conditions at the hotel. And it was built in 1907. The hotel is. And it's the Sidewinder Road is the reason why it's closed. The road gets snowed in, and it closes very, very easily because it's hard to maintain the thing. A 5-month job is what Jack is being hired to do repairs, keep the building basically upright, and yeah, that's the entire shtick. Do you think you could do a 5-month job being snowed in at a hotel?
Never.
Ooh.
It's a tough one, right?
Tough.
It's almost like being stranded.
I am a summer baby, and I hate everything winter, especially as I age now in my older age. I used to kind of like snow as a kid, but I never liked being wet or cold. So
Right.
the answer is a hard no for your man, so sort says. I
It's
am
a
a
pass.
Mediterranean. I am a Mediterranean blooded man. I don't exist in this coldness.
Murderous Mike, 5 months. You're going to work on your prospective book. What do you think about this?
Nope.
It's a pass for you too. Wow.
Yeah,
Not ever.
You're even like a stay-at-home worker guy. Like, this is what you do on a daily basis. You just like get to go outside every once in a while.
But that's exactly it. Like, even like I work from home, but I have to go out and like do stuff. Like, I have to go outside the house, go down the street. I have to be out. Like, I need to be outdoors. So
yeah,
like,
you worked at home before it was a thing. You know, yeah.
Yep.
But you're still near civilization, though.
Near civilization, and I'm not siloed in. And like, if I want to leave, I can, and that's the other thing. And I think that's what really like can mess with people is like, if you have the freedom, you're good. If you don't have that freedom and you literally can't leave, that's gonna get you. That's what's gonna do it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where people start cracking up, I guess, because they're so isolated for that amount of time. I have to be honest with you guys. I think I could be the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel. They have anything you want as far as food, unlimited food. I don't know about the power situation. I guess they're running off of generators downstairs. We kind of get a little glimpse into that. And I think I could. I think I could do it. It's such a massive building that...
It's almost like living in a bunker.
Yeah, it's almost like living in... kind of like a secluded type bunker, yeah. Where the snow is kind of, bearing down on you, but I don't know, man. 5 months. I wonder what it pays. That's my question. I wonder what it all is.
The pay could be a factor.
Yeah, like is it a really good, well-paying character?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even get into that, did we?
No,
we didn't even mention it.
No. While we're in this meeting, there's another manager that kind of comes in and joins the meeting. I have to mention to you guys, and I've sent you this offline, Jack Nicholson, throughout this meeting and throughout the entire movie, subtly looks at the camera, at us, the audience, throughout this whole meeting and throughout the entire picture. And it's very subtle, and it's one of these things where he did this specifically to make the audience unsettled, like he was looking at them and making eye contact with them. You think this is a conscious decision by Jack Nicholson, and is it effective?
Super effective. I don't know if it was I don't know if he was directed to do that. I don't know if he just did on his own.
Right.
But like, it's the only time when watching it from the first time, second time, etc., that I noticed it was when he's at the bar and he's kind of like. And he's like looking at the mirror at the other side of the counter, and then you've got the camera right in front of him. So that like it works and like it makes sense. But you don't see all those subtle moments like throughout the film. There's once in a while you see it, but it's like he does it so much when you really look out for it.
If you ever want to be creeped out, audience members out there, put in your little Google machine. Jack Nicholson Shining looks at camera. And there's a montage of it where he's literally staring at the camera multiple times. And it's very, very brief, but it's enough to make you go, damn, that has to be a conscious decision, right? To do that many times is not by accident. So the job interview goes on, right? He's going to take advantage of the isolated environment to work on his new book. He's got some ideas, and him being a writer is sort of the impetus for him wanting some peace and quiet. And so he kind of goes over The fact that, I think I'm the right man for the job. And the boss man, the guy who's conducting the interview, Altman, goes over the curious tale of Charles Grady. In 1970, he killed his wife and his 2 daughters while being the caretaker that winter at the Overlook. And he felt the need to tell Jack about it because this job sometimes is not for everyone, and sometimes that story scares some folks away. Cabin fever was kind of the blame. He turned a shotgun on himself at the end after his mental break. After, let's say you wanted the job and you heard that story. Are you taking the job?
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for your time. I'm out of here. I'm playing tennis on the moon. Don't call me.
I gotta be honest with you. Even like I said, I would do the job. I don't think I'm doing the job after that fucking story. I think that's it.
Playing tennis on the moon. Don't call me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you got the fear of knowing that people have died. Like, I mean, I'm right. It's horrible to say, but I'm sure a lot of hotels have that situation, but not the murdering aspect of it.
Well, not such a savage
exactly.
story. It's an unbelievable story. And it makes even Jack, who seems like a very confident individual, kind of take pause and be like, he was like, I can see why your people didn't tell me, who set up the whole job interview. I can see why your people didn't tell me this beforehand, because I would have never shown the fuck up, probably. Keep that a little secret, I suppose. Back at our home, before we were introduced to the mom, Wendy, and Danny, and they were just kind of watching cartoons and stuff as Jack is in his interview. And we are introduced to Danny's little imaginary friend named Tony. Tony is a voice. He says he describes it as a little boy that lives in the back of his throat that no one else can see because he hides in his stomach. I guess this is how a young boy sort of describes. Is that creepy in itself?
Run away from this kid at all costs.
And
give him up for adoption. Give him up for adoption. I don't know what to do.
What do you think about the finger effect as he's talking? Every syllable as Tony, he kind of wiggles his finger around. Is that effective?
Extremely effective. Children of the Cornish. I'm terrified.
I thought so too. The finger effect is very interesting. Well, Tony, who also talks in a very different voice than Danny, and they have a conversation while Danny is brushing his teeth. And Tony tells Danny before the phone even rings that his dad got the job at the Overlook and that he doesn't want to go and stay there. And Danny sort of presses Tony on why that is. And he said, I just don't. And he kind of presses him more and more until some visions come to Danny, and which causes Danny to black out, pass out, fall on the ground, hit his head, the whole thing. During that conversation, Jack
doesn't he have a seizure?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they blame it on, the fallout. During that conversation between Danny and Tony, Jack does call Wendy and say he got the job and start packing up the stuff. The vision that Danny is shown by Tony is the blood pouring out of the elevator. What do you think about the blood flowing out of the elevator?
I want to know how they created this effect because I'm going to see it every time I close my eyes when I go to bed every night, and I can't sleep anymore.
Is it effective? Is it like something that
it is so beyond effective? I am terrified. I think it's like Moses parting the Red Sea, and I'm going to get killed like the Egyptians.
What do you think, Murderous Mike? What do you think about the elevator blood?
It's iconic now.
Now, certainly.
Yeah. And like it, because even I'm sure back then it's to Sass's point. It's like, how the hell did they do that? And in the 80s, it's even more effective because it's you don't see that in any other film,
right?
Back then, at least.
No,
nowadays,
not.
You see that image and you think, oh, that's The Shining, but it's super effective. I think it's great.
Stanley Kubrick, known for his compulsiveness and his numerous takes, got the difficult shot of blood pouring out of the elevator only on 3 takes, probably because it was so costly to do, is my guess. This would be unremarkable if it weren't for the fact that the shot took 9 days to set up each time he filmed it. So 9 times 3 is how much time was dedicated to getting the blood pouring out of the elevator right. Every time the blood poured out, Kubrick would start shouting from his place that he would watch the whole thing unfold. It doesn't look like blood. And in the end, the shot took approximately a year to get right, all said and done. Contrary to popular belief, the elevator doors never actually open. The blood comes from the sides of the elevator.
That's so nuts.
Yeah.
Like, that's so nuts.
It's amazing,
like,
right?
I mean, I'm so terrified. Whoever that blood technician is, he deserves like the most money in the world. Like,
Right.
I'm so terrified.
At the time of the release, it was the policy of the MPAA to not allow the portrayal of blood in movie trailers. It wouldn't be approved for all audiences. And in 1980, the concept of green band and red band trailers was finally being introduced by the MPAA. Bizarrely, the trailer consisted of entirely the blood pouring out of the elevator. That was the entire trailer. There was nothing else except for text on the screen and blood flying out of the elevator. So Stanley Kubrick literally convinced the board that the blood pouring out of the elevator was actually rusty water, and that the water also had red dye in it, kind of subverting the fact that, yeah, that's fucking blood, dude. So he fooled a bunch of old, miserable people at the MPAA to get this thing not red-banded to be a regular release for a trailer. Can you believe he actually tap danced his way around that shit?
That is the greatest trick in the world. It's almost like Kaiser Sose in Reservoir Dogs, like tricking everyone. I think that's right up there with the Kevin Spacey Reservoir Dogs.
Spot on.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, golly, like it took that long to get that shot, but it's one of those shots.
He literally had to change TV ratings.
Yeah, amazingly so. Incredible to think about now. So after his vision that Tony showed him, we now jump cut to an at-home physician making a house call with with Danny in bed, getting checked out by the doctor. And the doctor essentially asks Danny a series of questions. House calls, how unusual, right? I mean, anymore that's I don't think any doctor makes house calls now.
It's next to. I only have one doctor. Being a pharmacist, I only have one doctor in the entire Hudson Valley that I know that still makes house calls, and it's one doctor, and she's like very beyond retirement.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's very beyond expensive to come to the house.
Yeah.
The doctor kind of gives Danny an A-OK. She talks a little bit about the imaginary friend who lives in Danny's mouth named Tony. And then he pretty much Danny's kind of put off by the whole questioning and says, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And that's that, right? The doctor kind of has to retreat and talk to Wendy outside. So after the doctor sees Danny, Doctor and Wendy head out to talk after, and the arrival of Danny's imaginary friend Tony kind of corresponds with a domestic abuse incident involving Jack, Danny's father, and then drinking involved with a dislocated shoulder. And Wendy sort of tells the story with ease, like she's told it 100 times, but it's so damn hard to listen to. And the doctor's face agrees, her facial reaction agrees with the fact that this is an unbelievably painful story. Wendy says it as if it's no problem, because I guess she just has decided, either she's told it a million times and she's okay with it, but she's must have come to terms with it at some point too. What are your thoughts about Jack is now sober and the domestic abuse incident involving Danny Torrance?
I mean, it's very disturbing. Obviously, Bill, us having kids, it's very concerning.
Absolutely.
Obviously, kids get us a little off kilter sometimes, but you don't rip your kid's arm out of the socket. I mean, I'm sorry.
No, you do not. I lose my patience all the time, right? I work every day to be a better person than I was the day before. I can never tell you that I've not been mad, but breaking your kid's arm or dislocating their shoulder is a completely different horse of a different color. What did you think about the way Wendy told the story to the doctor and then the doctor's face, Murderous Mike? What do you think about that?
She definitely looks at it as unusual.
Yeah,
and
so her mouth is like agape. Like, what am I even hearing here?
Yeah, and like from a viewer perspective, like you don't know if you should like think, like you just at this point of the film, especially first time watching, you have no idea what the hell is going on.
Yes.
Like, and it's just so odd to hear like this child is talking to himself, and like just everything about it just sounds so off.
It's definitely an odd effect, and the doctor doesn't even hear the voice that he makes when he's talking to Tony, which is even more unsettling in my opinion. So it's closing day, and the Torrance family has packed up their little VW buggy and are going to the Overlook to be the caretakers for the early fall through the winter into spring. 5 whole months they're going to be up at that Overlook Hotel. It's closing day, and the hotel staff is exiting. On the way up, we are kind of given a little rundown by Jack Torrance to his son Danny about the Donner Party and cannibals. Is Jack Torrance a good dad or a bad dad?
Oh, bad dad. This was very something you don't tell your kids. He's breaking every dad rule book.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking about 70s into 80s. Dads were different then.
Sure.
People didn't protect their kids. Go ahead, put your fork in the socket and see what happens, kid. This is flying around and this is FAFO. Flying around and fuck out, kid.
Right.
This is how parents did it. It's like, oh, you want to be a tough guy? Okay, go jump off that desk and break your arm, and I'll take you to the doctor once you've learned your lesson.
Definitely
a different parenting style back then.
A tough love dad, for certain. Jack seems like a very serious and kind of just a mean guy. Like he's like telling his son about how, all of these frontiersmen got snowbound and they kind of had to resort to cannibalism. And the kid like clearly idolizes Jack to the point where he's like, "It's okay, Dad. I heard about it on the TV too." And so we're kind of given a little window into our future. See, it's okay because he heard it on the television. TV media already kind of permeating our lives even more so now than ever with the advent of the internet and all the social media stuff. I don't know. Kind of an interesting take from kind of, the Jack's demeanor, and on the backdrop of the story of Danny getting hurt, Jack is not painted as a great dude up to this point. I'm not getting a warm and fuzzy from him at all.
Definitely not Dad of the Year candidate.
No, I don't think so. All right, so we're on the Sidewinder. It's a magnificent road. It's got great views. It's majestic. It's also, any little bit of snow at all would make it a goddamn death trap. And again, the soundtrack on point the entire time. Pretty.
Well, also, we don't have all-wheel drive at this point.
We do not.
Like put chains on your tires kind of situation.
Absolutely, It's a completely different world. You're completely right, and that VW Bug. I mean, there's not anything to it. It's basically a tin can on wheels. So it's like, even if they wanted to leave, they're not leaving in that fucking thing. Certainly not. So we arrive at our Overlook Hotel, and it is, again, a gigantic place. It's unbelievably vast and cavernous, and it's got great halls and rooms upon rooms upon rooms, and these gigantic spaces of, dining areas and ballrooms, and the kitchen is massive, and even just the storage areas are just mountainous. Through this tour, we get a kind of a glimpse into all of this stuff. Danny goes to the game room, and in this game room, he's playing darts, and he sees, for the first time ever, his vision of 2 young girls who kind of just are standing there staring at him in blue dresses, very unsettling. They don't say a word. They just kind of turn around in unison and walk away. What do we think about the two girls? Right, first impressions at least.
Did he see? Did he
it's
see
time
them?
to leave. It's time to leave.
Did he see the girls?
Of
No,
course he did. He was terrified.
In the in his like flash, like in his house before they got there when he had the seizure. Did he see them?
Yes, he does. He sees the two girls as well. They flash in front of his face, and those two images, accompanied with Danny in the future screaming with his mouth open and like completely freaked out, because that does happen in the future, that causes him to pass out. So you're onto something there, Mike.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of interesting. So now him seeing the vision of these two twin girls, what do you think about that? What's to be learned from that? It's kind of like
it's time to run. It's time to run. It's time to run like Forrest Gump the hell out of there.
I mean, if you were just a kid, like playing in the arcade room at a hotel like that, and you see two girls behind you, you'd be like creeped out, but not like, terrified. Like in the context that we know this is a horror film, but like
no, I'd be running. I was yeah. If I heard stuff in my house, I would run. Do you understand? We had a playroom downstairs, and I would hear stuff, and I would just run upstairs. Like I would be so scared that things were going to get me in the playroom because it was kind of like technically the basement of our house. I would literally even be scared to turn off the lights, so I would run. Once the light switch went off, I would bolt as fast as I could because I thought my sisters used to play this joke on me that like our grandma, because she died down there, was going to get me. Yeah, it was very. We did.
What a joke!
We did grow up in the 80s. I was also told that I was adopted.
Oh yeah.
From my Greek uncle in Greece. They used to give me coins at the arcade. So yeah, kids were really mean back then. I don't want to hear anything about this bullying bullshit. All right,
you're not hearing any of it, are you?
Yeah,
I think that's
kids
just
were
the
like
older
smoking cigarettes and putting them out on my arms. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Wow, good lord, I didn't know that.
I was going to say, like, I think the older sibling thing is like that's just your responsibility to do that to your younger sibling. But
right.
Not the cigarette.
The cigarettes, no, I don't.
The cigarette thing didn't happen to me, but I saw it done.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'll tell you what. If here's where because you're a kid, right, and everything is so new and weird and different. If I saw a vision, let's say I've never had a vision in my life, but let's say I had a dream and those two girls were in it. And I remembered my dream. And then these two girls were in a game room, and they kind of in unison look at each other and leave. I probably would be pretty fucking creeped out, man.
100%.
I would be running to my parents,
100%.
Screaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that dream, though, I would be a little cautious, but I wouldn't be scared shitless. And if he saw the kids in the dream or his vision, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Agreed. A little bit of... I went through King versus Duvall. I went through King versus Nicholson. Now let's go with King versus Kubrick. Stephen King was so dissatisfied by the movie adaptation of The Shining that it led him to adapt the novel later to a 1997 miniseries that was closer to his original work. It was like a made-for-TV miniseries. However, because Warner Brothers held the rights, King had signed a contract with the studio and he agreed to refrain from making any frequent public criticisms of Kubrick's vision in order to move forward with the miniseries. So he actually signed off on not trashing the movie that he didn't like, that Kubrick made, in order to get the miniseries made. And that Stephen King's adaptation was widely regarded as inferior to Stanley Kubrick's movie. Have either of you guys seen the made-for-TV The Shining series?
No, and now I got to watch it. I mean, this sounds like we got to check this out.
Yeah, I have never seen it either.
Nor have I.
But yeah. Obviously, one was super impactful. Stephen King on the sideline is just taking sniper shots at the movie, but I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the results speak for themselves. You guys got to shut his fucking mouth at some point. But I'm not Stephen King, and this is not my baby that I wrote from scratch. So, yeah, the tour continues with our friend Mr. Aldman. He is showing Jack and Wendy to the caretaker's quarters. Very kind of, small and cozy. They go to the quarters. They go to the hedge maze. They try to check that out. They take a little quick review of the snowcat vehicle that would get them around the property if they needed to, maybe out if they needed to if there was an emergency. And then to a ballroom, the gold room. And all of the liquor has been taken out. Aldman says for insurance purposes. So no drinks for Jack. Right off the bat, I'm thinking there's going to be a problem here with no drinks for Jack because we know he's a drinker. She says he's recovering. Are we buying the fact that he's recovered, or do you think he's pissed?
No. Yeah.
I don't think he's fucking recovered at all, but maybe, who knows? If I were snowbound, I'd be taking a few shots of liqueur myself. So this is right around where we meet Dick Halloran, the head chef. And he starts his tour of the kitchen, kind of grabs Wendy and young Danny away, and Jack and Allman go and review other parts of the hotel. At first glance, this tour of the kitchen seems like it's going real well. There's food galore, unbelievable amount of frozen food and storage area and the whole thing. He calls Danny Doc, and immediately Wendy seizes on that. It's a nickname that Wendy and Jack have for him, like Looney Tunes, "What's up, Doc?" sort of thing. Dick kind of has an explanation for it. Well, he looks like a doc, but automatically we're sort of kind of getting the fact that maybe Halloran is a different kind of a guy. And he is a different kind of a guy because he offers Danny some ice cream and sort of describes to him, as Wendy's off with Jack looking at some other things, kind of describes to Danny that he has the Shining. And the Shining is the ability to communicate basically psychically between people. He sort of looks at Danny and says, "Would you like some ice cream, Doc?" Like psychically. What do you think about The Shining? Is this a gift or is this a curse?
Amazing.
I think I would be pumped if I had a super secret way of communicating with other people with The Shining. Mike, would you be super stoked or no?
I think he just doesn't know how to take it. He's like, obviously you see him like he's looking at him like, well, what?
Yeah.
Like, curious.
Because he thinks he's the only person, though.
Right.
He's kind of like,
right.
How are you in my brain?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Because he has the ability, like I don't think he correlated that that's an ability he has versus him talking to his imaginary friend, which is his ability.
Right. That's his coping mechanism. That plus trauma equals Tony, in my opinion. Right. Because that's created by Danny as sort of like a guardrail to keep him safe mentally.
Yep.
Oh, it's totally his safe space, and that basically helps him get through trouble.
Right.
Like, almost like, I feel like people that are abused have that to a degree that's not supernatural.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
We see it later in the film. I mean, we won't jump ahead, but like he does it a few times in the film.
Absolutely. And and as you say that, it's like Tony is who appears when Danny is unable or too afraid to speak. Tony sort of takes over. The ability to speak is one thing, but also Danny, I don't know if it's common amongst people with The Shining since it's a made-up thing, he kind of sees the future too and can see visions of what's going to happen to him. Do you think this is a everyday Shining thing? I mean, that's what I'd like to think it is. Like, kind of almost like a clairvoyant sort of, like, tells.
I feel like it's stuff you can't control, and it hits you when it's telling you need to, like, be on alert. It's almost like a spidey sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This makes me really curious to the sequel and how this situation is handled, but I feel like Danny has the ability in a more gifted manner. And there's actually theories out there that the hotel is actually after Danny directly, not.
Oh yeah. So I'm not going to spoil the movie, and we're not here to review Doctor Sleep, but what I will say is it directly addresses that.
Mm-hmm.
And it directly addresses the fact that Danny is a very gifted kid with The Shining, and Dick saw that right off the bat. He can kind of like feel how powerful Danny has it at such a young age, and that's why he's sort of like drawn like a moth to a flame, even though he might not know it's going to be his demise, but he's like compelled to go back to the hotel to save this kid. Pretty amazing stuff, and
it's almost like Star Wars. Like
in a
like
way, sort of
like in the prequels. Like they know Anakin's got the Force, so they got to like protect him and save the product, the kid, so he can become, the truest form of this strength.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to get too far into Doctor Sleep, but it takes Danny as an older person, and he's got a lot of the same issues that his dad had based on the trauma that he experienced at the Overlook. And Danny's job is at a resting home, kind of ushering older people into their final resting point. He talks to them with The Shining and kind of allows them to let go and go into the afterlife, hence the name Dr. Sleep. He's like an orderly. He's not a doctor at all. He's like somebody who goes around and sweeps up and mops the floors and shit, but every once in a while he'll go into a room that he's kind of signaled to. Just kind of an interesting fucking take on it, man. It takes it in a direction that I didn't think it was going to take it, and I like it quite a bit. The book is even better than the movie, but that's such is the case with a lot of things. So, we're back to the Shining. Danny gets some ice cream with Halloran, like we talked about before, and he explains what his grandmother told him, which is this gift of The Shining. He would shine with his grandmother, and sort of breaks it down to Danny on that he's not alone, that this is something that very special people have, and that he basically is capable of certain things. And Danny basically says he doesn't really want to talk about it, which I can understand. He's a brand new person in his life who he's never met this person before, and he's like kind of, opening his eyes to all this stuff, and the natural reaction for a young person, I think, is probably to recoil at that a little bit. Some places are like people. Some shine and some don't. That's what Halloran basically tells Danny, that the Overlook is haunted, and it's like a burnt piece of toast. It lingers in the air, which I think is a really good symbolic reference to how burnt toast smells. Like everybody knows, or burnt popcorn even. Everybody knows what that is. So that's kind of like what the Overlook has. And Danny immediately asks about room 237. And Halloran's first reaction is to lie to the young man. Basically says, there ain't nothing in that room, and he needs to stay out. And obviously Halloran is scared of what's in there. Tony must have told Danny enough for him to ask Dick what he thought about what was in room 237. And Halloran's response is telling. Stay out of there. Don't go in there. There ain't nothing in that room. Warning enough, or do we feel like he should have gone a little deeper into room 237?
I think he didn't want to put, make them... Kids are going to do what you tell them not to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically. Agreed.
So regardless, he was destined to go there no matter what Halloran said. So anytime I stay at a hotel or a motel or a Holiday Inn, I always look for room 237. And I have stayed in rooms with that number 237. Have you guys ever had the luxury of staying in room 237 at any place you stayed at?
I'm sure. I wouldn't. I would.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
It's creepy as hell, man, when it does happen. Or, like, I've also been across the way from 237, and I immediately
Hotels should actually, like, as a mandate, should never be built with a 237.
Like floor 13 or whatever?
and no, like, 666. Like, those things should just not be made.
There you go. Not a bad rule of thumb. I'm sure there's a lot of hotels out there that were built prior to this movie, but I'm with you, man. So we flash to the entire staff is now gone, and basically what Kubrick is going to do is he's told us how he's going to tell this story. He's going to give us a black screen with the time frame that we're working with. So we're talking 1 month later. We're jumping forward 1 month of the Torrance family being in the Overlook. And Danny's rolling around in that big wheel all over the Overlook with that crazy-looking carpet. 11:30, Jack is still asleep. Big writer, 1 month in, hasn't done a fucking thing. Jack explains that he has a strange connection to this place, and he feels very, very comfortable. What do you think about Jack? Is he ever going to write this fucking book, or is he full of shit?
He's very fucking crazy, in my opinion.
It just right off the bat, you think he's crazy?
I got bad vibes from him.
Yeah. Well, then you've got good vibes then, because you're dead on accurate, obviously. Because Jack.
I mean, I'm a pretty good judge of character in general when I assess people.
Certainly. I don't know if Jack is ever going to write this fucking book. Even if things went perfect, I don't think Jack is writing a book ever. I think he's probably a shitty teacher, and he's probably going to be shitty at everything that he does because he's just an angry motherfucker. that's my
He's like the fucking guy from Game of Thrones that still hasn't finished the book.
Yeah, George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, that bastard.
All of a sudden, I did not have George R.R. Martin hate on my bingo card today.
This is actually made about George R.R. Martin, to be honest.
This is where we get our first walkthrough of the big hedge maze on the outside of the hotel. Have you ever been in a hedge maze, guys?
No. I've been in a corn maze, but not a hedge maze.
I've been in a corn maze myself. Yeah.
We have all three of us together been in a corn maze a few times, but
any anxiety when you're in the corn maze?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, every time I go on one of those stupid haunted hayrides, I want to just get a bulldozer and knock all the walls down. So yeah,
bulldozer. You just go a straight path right the fuck out. This hedge maze is unbelievable. It's intimidatingly big. Do you think you would want to venture in there? I mean, with no time limit, if you started really early in the morning, would you go to the center of the hedge maze and try and find your way out?
I would.
I think I would too.
I don't think I ever would.
Even with us, you wouldn't go there with us.
Nope. Guys, I'm the guy that holds everyone's stuff on the roller coasters. Why would I go on this maze? I am the guy from high school till now, to this day, with my own children. Okay, guys, you go on that slide. I'll be at the bottom watching our stuff.
Cautious, very cautious.
I noticed in the film they actually have bells throughout the maze in case.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have a little red triangle bell that you could ring.
No shit.
In case you need help.
See, I did not know that. That's interesting.
And then I would just run away with your stuff. Run away from my life.
Let's see what I have for the hedge maze. I know I've got a funny thing here. Let me think.
Did anybody notice that when they're in it, he's looking at the model in the hotel?
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So
he's watching them while they're going through it from the inside hotel. He's having a lunacy kind of spin-off.
Yeah.
So this film has so much cinematography in it that there's actually classes in college that literally go over this frickin' film. And that cut is done so well, so smoothly, going for him looking and just kind of zoning into it. Mm-hmm. And you kind of, when you first see it, you see him kind of just losing, into it. But you also kind of see him not changing, but you see something's off. And
right.
then it cuts to the zoom, like you just said, Sass, of them in the maze, and it's just it's just amazing how smooth it is. And there's a lot of transitions like this in this film that they
It
do.
almost makes you think, am I losing my mind as I'm looking at this? Like,
Right.
Exactly, and that's exactly what they want you to feel.
Right.
Like,
and that's all Kubrick, because it's like that weird, eerie, like, is he looking at them or is that his imagination? Because he's looking at a map of the hedge maze. So he's really not looking at them, but he is on screen. So what exactly is happening there? It kind of makes you feel a little eerie. Like it elicits that reaction.
I mean, because it's like a mini spec model of the hedge maze.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they built when they were proposing the construction of it.
Right.
Almost like the Zoolander school for kids that don't read very well. And
right.
he should have just smashed it, like Derek Zoolander.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And
so,
and then the movie would have been over. He would have been fine.
There was no air conditioning on the sets, meaning that they would become extremely hot, obviously, on the sound stage. And the hedge maze set was especially stifling. Actors and actresses on the crew would often strip off as much as they could of their heavy clothing that they would have to wear because they're supposed to be in the winter, right? As quickly as they could once the shots had finished, because it was such a heavy atmosphere in the room, which I'm sure it's got to be claustrophobic in there, because it's this giant set of just, hedges, whether they're fake or not fake. I don't know. But I will say that just adding heat as an element in this fucking thing when you're trying to act like it's cold is got to be a different level of claustrophobia, I would think.
So I'm a little bit mind blown because I thought that was really filmed outside. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, just to think,
I'm living a lie. I'm basically living a lie. We're in the Matrix.
Just to think about it for a second, all of the interior set design is in a soundstage. You know how much fucking work that they had to do to make that set? It's almost like it doesn't compute the amount of work that had to go in to fucking make this thing look like a legit hotel, and it does look like a legit hotel.
Making a miniature city.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
It's an immense amount of work, and they pull it off very well. But to Sass's point is like, I like you can assume that the inside of a shot, like when you're inside like a building, you can assume it's at a location or that whatever. But the way they shot the maze, like, it is done so well that like the lighting and everything looks realistic. That I thought they were truly outside,
truly outdoors.
If they weren't outdoors, then that's astonishing.
The effect is incredible, and it's hard to even understand, like, how is this even possible? So it's not, I can't even say it's the Tinseltown magic, because it wasn't even filmed in Hollywood. It was filmed in fucking England, so go figure.
Yeah.
So Kubrick jumps ahead now. He's going to we just went from 1 month later to Tuesday, and this is the way it goes. It goes slower and slower and slower until he's actually peeling off times at some point. So we've gone to Tuesday, and snow is coming in. It's going to get real hairy real quick from this point on. Danny is cruising on his big wheel again, and the music hits as he rolls by room 237. And Danny, like, stops and kind of hesitates and tries to open the door, but the door is locked, and he gets the two-girl vision again. What do you think about you as a kid riding around a ginormous hotel? Would you be into this as just like an adventure and just speeding all over the place in your big wheel? Or would you be, I don't know, maybe a little, because you got to figure you're over a month into it now.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, at this point, he's taken over this hotel, and
it's pretty badass.
Being a driver of one of those things myself, again, had older siblings.
Yeah.
I had one of these leftover things at my cousin's house. I would literally cruise their neighborhood without being watched. I could have been abducted 1,000,001 times. My aunt would just be like, all right, kid, see you when the lights go off. And I'm cruising on this thing because, again, I am like 5 to 9 years older than my siblings. They're all doing teen stuff or preteen stuff. And little Jimmy's on this,
on his big
cruiser
wheel.
thinking he's a badass, you know?
So would you be apt to venture out and do your big wheel routine around the hotel, the Overlook Hotel?
100%.
Oh yeah, because it's basically like being in a video game, like, you know.
It's his playground.
It's basically his playground, the whole damn building. Yep. Which is pretty awesome.
Right.
And it's too cold to go outside, so you gotta like audible, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about that crazy rug pattern that he's riding on it onto and off of the hardwood floor and the rug? Those patterns are 70s lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah, it's a wild pattern.
Wild.
Oh, yeah.
So ugly.
Like LSD patterns.
Yeah, no shit. We get a scene of Jack typing away on his typewriter, just hacking away at the thing. It's in the evening time now. All of our lights are on, and maybe the writer's block has lifted, right? Maybe we're hopeful. Maybe Jack is well on his way to writing a Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. But Wendy comes in and kind of asks him how he's doing, and that's probably the worst thing that Wendy could do. So Jack,
poor bitch.
Jack proceeds to lose it on her. When you hear me typing, clack, 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 or whatever the fuck you think I'm doing in here, leave me the hell alone is essentially what he's saying to her. And this is the first time where we get to see the nasty temper of Jack Torrance. This doting wife is basically just trying to check in on the husband, and his face just reads like, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, why would you even marry this person? I mean, like, there had to have been signs prior to this. Clearly, she's like a battered wife. Yeah.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. When did you realize that Jack was this way? Or maybe this is the personality type that Wendy kind of gravitates to. There are people in this world who this dynamic works for them. I mean, it probably doesn't work for anybody, but
punch me in the face. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I love you more now. What do you think about Wendy? Is Wendy attractive or not attractive?
No.
Negative.
In my opinion, no.
Yeah,
negative.
I happen to be in a line with you guys. It's something about Wendy that
and probably like the egomaniac of Jack was like, yeah, I'll downgrade to this lady because I'll just do what I want to her.
And then because then I can do whatever I want.
And she's not, and she can't get any better than me. Kind of like evil mentality that some dudes have, you know?
Yeah,
kind of like a certain person we knew from our past,
right? An egomaniac that sort of then monopolizes the relationship, and just. He's such a miserable fucker.
I'll change for you, Jack. I'll change for you.
Or I can change him is even the better one.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. The dressing down that Jack gives Wendy is like one of these things where, man, I mean, I don't know how many times they did that take, but she just leaves with her head down like, I guess I don't bother you in this room when you're typing anymore. She just got ran the fuck off, which is pretty rough, man.
Hey, I'm just going to go fuck myself over here.
I guess I'll go fuck myself. So the new rule is that when you go into that great hall, basically don't come in when he's working. He doesn't want to be disturbed. Why don't you start right now by getting the fuck out of here is the quote. That's pretty fucking rough, man. It turns into being very isolating for Wendy, you would have to think, right? Because this is the only adult that she has to talk to, because there's no, like, the phones, everything is long distance. So she's basically
she
on
does
her
talk to
own.
the cop a little bit, remember?
Yeah, for a radio, but she's like so thirsty for attention and some conversation, probably outside of fucking cartoons or whatever that Danny wants to talk about. So the snow has arrived, and we get a little, Wendy outside throwing snowballs around with Danny, and Jack is just in the fucking room staring outside. It's being memed right now, where he's wearing his turtleneck and he's just like staring through the top of his eyelids as that music is piercing his fucking soul. Mm-hmm. It's like, let me see if I have it on my soundboard. Hold on. Oh, that's not it. Okay, hold on. See if I have it. Yeah. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
It's
so
just
creepy.
That music accompanied with his face is like fucking unbelievable, man. Do you think this is when Jack starts to lose his mind? Or, like, when do you think his mental break actually happens?
It's definitely here.
It's happening. It's happening, and honestly, I forget if it was the scene we just talked about when, like, Wendy disrupts him when he was, like, working. But I'm kind of getting ahead a little bit here, but you hear, if you listen to what he's typing, you can make out what he's typing.
It's repetitive.
In that specific tone of what we know he writes later in the film.
So he's already on the road to ruin.
Yeah,
this isn't like a phone that typewriters didn't make, like beep boop boop boop.
If you listen, there's a specific scene. I forget if it's this scene or a scene later, and it might be a scene later when they're like panning into the room.
It's almost like I know which one you're talking about.
It's almost like a Morse code sound.
Yeah,
like,
you can hear like
because there's a pattern to it. Yeah.
It's like if you hear what he's typing, you can hear the letters with it.
Fucking
it's
amazing.
So cool. It's so cool. I think it's the scene later, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway.
So Jack stares into nothing, and that face says 1,000 words, man. I don't know what else to say about that. But
he should have just won the Emmy because of that face.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. I agree with that. So Saturday hits. Kubrick's going to give us a Saturday, and the snow is it's going to continue basically for the rest of the movie. So it's snowing like a motherfucker. Jack is typing. The typing continues. And we see basically Wendy being the fucking caretaker for the entire Overlook. So she's out there checking phone lines. Phone lines are down. Okay. So she's going to go to the radio. And she contacts the Forest Service. Basically, the storm has knocked out the power lines, and she makes contact with the police just to verify that. And they basically tell her, that's exactly what happened, and that she should check in with them periodically and leave the radio on all the time now, so that they have a lifeline to the outside world.
Carry on, citizens.
Yes, carry on, citizens. So Danny is rolling, and he's rolling around with his big wheel. And he is confronted by the two girls dressed in blue in the hallway. And this is the first time that he's actually confronted, like, outside of that game room scene and his own visions. He sees these girls. What's your immediate take on the girls? How do they look to you?
So
startled,
Sassos. I think we know what you're going to say.
Yeah,
were they startling?
They're creeping me. I was so startled I couldn't even talk. I was still looking over my notes because it says in my notes, scary music, Danny Big Wheelin', little girls in hallway, saying hello, Danny, come play with us, and they're covered with blood and axes. He's mortified.
Yeah.
Ask for Tony.
The line is, come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever. And he has a vision of the fate that these girls suffered, right? A bloody axe to bits, pools of blood, a massacre. This is Alexa and Alexi Grady. They are so duly corrected. They've been corrected to bits. So,
dude, the frickin' use of the correcting by the character later on is so creepy.
Yeah, I agreed. The fact that he that's what he deems corrected. Fucking crazy. So that's what we're confronted with. First big actual jump scare, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The movie has...
big time.
The movie has given us a lot of unsettling and creepy things up to this point, but this is the first time where we're really confronted with the face of fear. And
like deep fear,
Danny reaches...
Because everything else is kind of like eerie at this point.
Yeah,
this
and it's like unsettling,
horrifying.
Right? The atmosphere is off, but it's not really true blue scary just yet. Danny reaches out to Tony that he's scared, and Tony's only kind of consolation to Danny is, remember that just what Halloran said. It's just like pictures in a book. It's not real. Basically, it can't hurt you. These little girls are creepy as hell, man. Their faces, there's something about these girls. Like maybe it's the giant foreheads. I don't know what it is about these little girls. It absolutely freaks me the fuck out visually, but it certainly has an effect for sure.
Well, it's also them talking in unison,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And like their tone and their everything about themselves. It's just like you said, every aspect of their being creeps you out. It like sends chills down your spine.
The actor Danny Lloyd's horrified face effect, dude, that's scary as hell, man. I mean, it's unbelievably acted. That like wide open face where he's like fucking like screaming at the top of his lungs. We've seen multiple times up at this point. That fucks me up, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. What did they do to make him do that? It was
I don't know.
Think of bears eating your parents? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
what do you tell this? A kid?
Great party, isn't it?
It is a great party, and we have had such an excellent time discussing the first half of part 1 of the Shining episode with you guys. Next week is going to be part 2, so stand by, stand fast, it's coming. The editing process takes a little while, however, it's worth the wait. We're all going to have a lot of fun on the flip side. So, in the meantime, that was So Startled Sassafras. That was Murderous Mike. I'm Bad Luck Bill. We'll see you next week for the exciting conclusion of The Shining, Part 2 movie review. Stay scary out there, everybody. See you soon.